Roaring Lion. How is he ahead of his date on Champions Day? He's had a long season, started off in April.
Fair comment, he has had a long season. He's been on the go here since February. He did spend a great deal of February and March enjoying himself, playing, kicking, rearing up. So, and he just took a little time to get in the zone. And it began to click in the Guineas when he ran a good race fifth, slightly stranded on his own. And then after that, he's been simply fantastic. He blew him away in the Dante. Didn't stay in the Derby, last one off the bridle, finished third. And then he's gone through the Eclipse, Jumpon International and the champion at Leopardstown. Had to overcome a slow pace and going wide there. It was impressive on that short straight to quicken like he did. So, look, he's been nothing but a pleasure to train. He's got a fantastic constitution. He's got bigger, he's got stronger, he's eating, he's doing well, he's training well. He does not strike me at this stage as a horse who's had enough or going over the top.
So he's looking in the same form as York and Leopardstown.
Yeah, he is. He's pleasing us. Kieran O'Neill and Ben ride him, and Ben looks after him, and the horse still seems very much in peak condition. I hope these are not sort of famously silly words.
And very much plan A would be the Qipco Champion Stakes, but he's also got the option of the QET.
Yes, very much so. I mean, we'd love to run the mile and a quarter, obviously, but if we got a torrential downfall and it was heavy and swindly bottom, the thing about this horse is he's got this lightning turn of foot. Well, if you run him in that ground, it blunts it. So then we'd have to look at the straight mile and see whether that's an option.
So every chance we will see him on Champions Day,
The plan
whatever.
is to run, very much so, and of course the owners are dead keen to run, but we'll always do what's right for the horse. At the moment, I couldn't be happier with him.
Breeders' Cup would be in the background.
That would then have to be discussed bang on the weekend itself. Would be no decision about that till we quite know what we're doing through the week, but it's something that's very much being looked at, yes.
And Cracksman, what's the latest on him?
He's super form, happy with him. He's walked into the hottest and driest summer since 1976, and he's a horse who just likes to get his toe in. He's out of a pivotal mare. And he's won 2 Group 1s this year, but he wasn't happy on the ground at Ascot and a little distracted by the fillies from the previous race. So to that extent, we then prepared him for the King George. 2 firm didn't run him, prepared for the Jumpon International. 2 firm didn't run him. And then the Arc, they only got 1 millimetre of rain. We left him in at the last possible moment, but couldn't run him because it was slick on top and firm underneath. He runs. He runs at Ascot, be the last race, be retired this year. He's been a fabulous horse, but he hasn't been able to shine this year. I think if he'd had more suitable underfoot conditions, we'd have seen the Cracksman of old, and we could well see it on Saturday.
It was around this time last year he really came into his own. Is he showing you that same kind of form this time around?
Yes, I think, remember, he was a 3-year-old and he was quite unfurnished and he was maturing. I think he got stronger through the year, and suddenly you had a strength for a turn of foot rather than just lengthening galloping, and he's all the attributes are there. They're all there, and he's a fabulous horse and a lovely horse to be around, and I think he'll put in a huge performance. Whether he could give the weight to a 3-year-old could be tough for him.
You'd mentioned before you might try headgear with him. Is that still an option?
I wouldn't be opposed to it in the slightest. I'm a great believer in America. We use it all the time. Sometimes I work horses and blinkers and not run them in. But I have no prejudice against that whatsoever, particularly for a horse who's got to the stage where he rather fancies the fillies when they walk round the yard. So maybe a touch of focus for his last run would be a good idea.
Lati Dar, come out of the St Ledger bouncing.
Yes, she took it very well. She got the swing of it late, finished well. We're very pleased with her. She's a fresh filly really coming into the autumn, and we're very happy and very hopeful she can run a big race. And the Coronet, who's nothing but a gem of consistency, Group 2 winner, chinned in Group 1s, she'll be there as well. And she's a real little, really tough, lovely filly.
And is it looking like Frankie on Lati Dar?
I'll leave that to the jock. I don't make those decisions for him, because if it goes wrong, he blames me.
And Coronet, I mean, she's run up against some top-class horses this season.
Poor girl, she's run into Enable, she's run into, obviously, Sea of Class this year, she's run into Beaten and Nose by Boldness. I mean, she's run some fabulous races. She's won a Ribblesdales, won a Middleton. She's a good filly.
In Stradivarius for the long distance cup.
Yeah, the little, yep, our little champion. He's in great form, freshened up well since the Lonsdale. Well, you know, he seems to be right back to his best. He's enjoyed his little holiday, but then he started getting a bit mischievous, so we had to do a little bit more with him. But he's a grand horse, and he's been nothing but a pleasure to be around all year, and put in a stunning performance in the Ascot Gold Cup.
He was third in the race last year on soft ground. Would soft underfoot conditions be a concern?
He's better on top of the ground. There's no doubt about that, and he showed that in Royal Ascot. But I think from his point of view, you know, unless it was the word H was in there, we'd be inclined to run.
And next season, he sticks around. And
Yes. I don't think any plans at this moment to be sending him to stud. He's a sweet, charming horse to be around. He's a pleasure to train. And the owner breeder beyond Nielsen is, you know, he's been a passionate owner breeder, and he comes up with a horse like this. He deserves it, and he really enjoys being around the horse and you know, planning things for the horse. I think he very much stays in training.
And given he's sort of conquered the staying division this season, might he be seen over slightly shorter trips next year?
It's always an option, but we might stick to Plan A.
Without Parole, we saw him on the gallops earlier. Qipco?
Yep. Good form. He's in the QE2. Very good form. He's a horse who's going to be his best over a mile a quarter next year. He's still a bit of a work in progress, still maturing. Didn't work out in the Moulin the other day, but and he did get rather squeezed up in the Jumpmont International. So he hasn't had a lot of luck the last two runs, but we're happy with him.
You think he's better than we've seen so far?
Yeah, he is, and he's probably a mile 1, mile 2 horse. And he's still very much a horse who's maturing all the time.
And any ground?
He's like a lot of horses. I'd say he's better on top. If it went very soft, I wouldn't run him.